Dead by Daylight isn't fun anymore. So much so that I could barely play 3 games just to get half-decent B-roll footage for this rant. I mean, Dead by Daylight is a game that over 1,200 hours has brought me so much joy and entertainment, yet here I am struggling to even make a short video on it. So why does it feel so stale, boring, and downright tedious to play? Well, for me personally, it goes back to November of last year. We were high off incredible changes like base kit borrowed time, the meta shakeup, and the release of one of DBD's best killers, Albert Wesker. We were happy with where the game was going and where it was, and we saw a bright future for the life cycle of Dead by Daylight. We were also quite excited to see what the previously leaked Ignite had in store, until we weren't. In late November, the Forged in Fog chapter was released, adding a new killer in collaboration with Ubisoft's game For Honor. This chapter also released the Knight's map, the Shattered Square, which had a large plethora of bugs. However, we won't be focusing on it. The Knight, unlike most killers, had an interesting concept. However, it seems it was not fitting for the game we have today. The idea of a killer sending out some form of minion to patrol the map, giving the killer enhanced control and pressure over large areas, was an idea that had been considered before by the community. However, we might not have considered the problems with this power. Until we had the oppressive gen kick meta on the rise, a killer that could control areas like this was a great idea. But now, with this gen kick meta and a killer that could thrive at holding a 3-gen, this was bad news all around. A lot of players lost faith in the bright future we had seen in the recent past, chalking it up to behavior, never learning from their past mistakes. The mid-chapter patch had arrived for this chapter, and the overpowered gen kick build had been nerfed into oblivion, allowing the community to have a much-needed breath of fresh air. With hopes on the rise again, we were excited to see what behavior had in store for Quarter 1's DLC. Until yet again, we were disappointed. On March 7th of this year, a mere 10 days ago as of this recording, the Skull Merchant was released, a tech-savvy killer with the ability to set up drones and track survivors. Another cool concept, yet it turned out just like the Knight. A niche power that was, in most situations, outperformed by other killers with similar powers. Even the Knight and Skull Merchant had powers that were incredibly similar, so much so that their powers were compared to each other. After this depressing disappointment of a chapter, some theorists even came to the conclusion that the Skull Merchant was behavior's botched attempt at an original version of the Predator. Here we are today, stuck with 2 incredibly boring killers to play and play against, in the same game mode we've been playing since 2016. No wonder boredom is on the rise and tension is rising. Maps are one of Dead by Daylight's biggest factors in which side wins the game. So much so that some players will flat out disconnect when they get an unfavorable map. Behavior has time and time again tried to remedy this problem with band-aid solutions like breakable walls and map reworks, like building reworks, things of those nature. However, this solution isn't working. There are still maps in the game unchanged, like the game in Midwich, and even some maps after reworks like the Red Forest, that are just utterly impossible for either the killers or survivors to win depending on the map. The fact that a match can be decided without either side doing a single thing is downright unacceptable. Cheating is another rampant problem that has increased tenfold in recent times, streamers being held hostage until the cheater just gets simply bored, or 5 gens being completed in an instant. Behavior didn't help this problem by offering the game for free on the Epic Games Store. In the past, DBD has suffered many DDoS strikes from hackers, and well, the way they approached this problem was simply by ignoring it until the hackers got bored and stopped. This level of incompetence from behavior has led to the DDoS strikes rising again in the present day. This is making popular streamers and content creators alike have a very, very difficult time doing their job, entertaining the people that love watching their content. And when the content creators leave a game, a lot of the community does too. How long can we just sit here and let this game die without saying anything? DBD has far, far more problems than I have covered in this honestly way too long of a rant, but some of these are the biggest reasons as to why I simply don't have Dead by Daylight installed, why I can't bring myself to play it when I do have it installed, and why I simply believe that Dead by Daylight does not have a future in the gaming space.